Well, what are the qualities, the most important qualities of self-made millionaires? There's basically 7. And this, again, is the result of exhaustive research. Number 1, top of the list, is honesty. Someone once said that if honesty did not exist, it would have to be invented as the surest way of getting rich. Why is honesty so important? It's because as soon as you go beyond your own resources, you have to borrow money. And you can only borrow money if people trust you, if people know that you're honest and that you've always been honest. So therefore, you dramatically leverage yourself by developing the kind of reputation that people can trust, that people know that if you say you'll do something, you'll do it. If you say you'll pay something back, you'll pay it back. If you have a problem, you let them know, and so on. Now, the second quality of self-made millionaires is self-discipline. Napoleon Hill used to call it the master key to riches. In his interviews of more than 500 of the wealthiest men that America ever produced, he found that self-discipline was the one common quality they all had. It was the one quality that guaranteed their success. And self-discipline is learnable by practicing discipline whenever it is required. The third quality of self-made millionaires is getting along well with people. It's likability. If people like you, they'll want to do business with you. If people like you, they'll want to lend you money. If people like you, they'll want to work for you and work hard. So you find that people with positive mental attitudes, optimists, cheerful, nice people, tend to be far more successful in every area financially than people who aren't. A fourth quality is having a supportive spouse. Now that's interesting. The answer is that when you have a supportive spouse, somebody who stands behind you, works with you, it saves you an enormous amount of energy in life. You don't have to come home at night and fight. You don't have to worry about what he or she is going to say. You don't have to argue. You don't have to go out looking for someone to date and so on. You can take all that energy and channel it into becoming successful. Being single or in a bad relationship is a very time and energy consuming time of your life. Well, the fifth quality is hard work. What we find is the one thing that self-made millionaires have that's obvious when you see them is that they are hard workers. They start earlier, they work harder, and they stay later. In fact, the hardest working people are the people who always move ahead the fastest. Why? Because people get a reputation for hard work, and it opens every door for them. If they're working for another company, it gets them every promotion. I mean, if you owned a company, who would you want to promote? Somebody who worked really, really hard, got a lot done, or somebody who did just what they had to do. So hard work is important. Why? It's because if you work hard, you get more and better results. You create more value. You make a greater contribution. You become worth more by the fact that you work longer and harder hours. Now, the sixth quality of self-made millionaires is that they do what they love to do. Now, this is really interesting. One self-made millionaire said something that a lot of them have said. He said, I never worked a day in my life. Once I found the right field for me, I never worked a day in my life. I just did what I love to do, and I get up every morning and I go and do it. So one of the questions you have to ask is, what is it that you really love to do? What is it that you do well? What kind of products or services do you enjoy using yourself, telling other people about? You'll always be the most successful and the happiest doing what you love. And there's a reason for this, is because when you're doing what you enjoy, it unlocks your energy. It enables you to persist. When you're doing something you enjoy, you can persist much longer and harder than if you're doing something you don't particularly like. Many people struggle for years, finally leave a particular job or position, start doing something that they like, and then make more progress in 5 years than they might have made in 20 years before. So keep asking yourself, what do you really love to do? And the seventh quality of self-made millionaires is the ability to sell their ideas, to sell their products, to sell their services. In fact, what we know is entrepreneurs are persuasive. Now, selling, the ability to sell, is a learnable skill. I have had hundreds, thousands of people through my courses who have gotten into selling, been very poor at it, been very tense about it, nervous about calling on new people, and then they came to my courses or listened to my audio programs, and they said, hey, this is just a skill. It's like learning how to use a computer program or a cell phone. It's a skill. There's a logical process to selling, and you can learn it. And the better you are at selling other people, getting them to cooperate with you, getting them to go along with you, to buy your products and services, to work for you, to give you credit, the more persuasive you are, the better is every other part of your life, and the faster you'll become financially independent. In fact, becoming persuasive is a very good way of adding value to yourself and to your life. Well, this brings us to a question, because, by the way, you have all of these qualities already developed to a certain degree. Your job is just to develop them to a higher degree by practicing them whenever you need to. Now, there are several reasons why people don't become rich, and I've broken down the basic 7. As you know, I've done all kinds of programs on this. The number one reason that people don't become rich is that it never occurs to them that they can become rich. Now, let me tell you something. You can do it. You can become a millionaire. If you're a millionaire, you can become a 10 millionaire. You can do it. In fact, you should say over and over again, as you think about personal wealth, I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. Because when you start realizing that you can do it, then the only question you ask is how? What are the different ways? What do I do? When you cross that mental barrier and you realize that yes, if hundreds of thousands and millions of other people have done it, I can do it as well. You can do it as well. So the number one reason that it never occurs to them. From now on, it's occurred to you. Number 2, they never decide to. Even if it does occur to them that it's possible, they never make a do or die decision that, by gum, I am going to become financially independent. They wish and they hope and they pray, but here's the rule. Nothing happens in life until you make a decision and burn your bridges and take action. So just decide, I am going to do it, and then take down a piece of paper and write out every single thing that you could think of to do that would help you to become financially independent. Now, the third reason people don't become rich is they procrastinate. Most financial advisors will tell you this is the number one reason. They always have an excuse in their 20s and their 30s, their 40s, always have an excuse, always have a bill to pay, always have a reason why they can't start putting away their money today. They have family and travel and all kinds of things. Interesting, I was reading an article in the financial press just today talking about young people who don't buy health insurance. They say, well, they can't afford health insurance, but they can afford ski vacations and new cars and going out drinking and dating with their friends and clothes and everything else, but they can't afford health insurance, so they're going to put it off until a better time. Do you know that the average person at the age of 40 in America, the average adult, is worth only a couple of $1,000s? The average adult at the age of 50 is only worth about $50,000? Isn't most people don't really get serious about their finances until their 50s and 60s? Don't let this happen to you. Don't procrastinate. Make a decision and do it now. Start saving today. Open a bank account and put in 1% in advance of what you're going to make this month. And then from then on, add to that account. Fourth reason that people fail financially is that they fear failure. And fear of failure, as you know, is the greatest killer of all. It paralyzes you. It stops you from taking a chance, from investing your money, from taking a new job, from doing anything where there's a risk. Human beings are terrible about loss. We're so emotional about the possibility of losing money that sometimes we become so paralyzed we never do anything that will enable us to make money. Which is why it's so important that you start off slowly and you become more and more involved as you develop confidence. But whenever you say, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it, you actually reduce the fear of failure and you build up your confidence and courage. Now, number 5, they fear rejection. They fear rejection. They fear criticism. They don't want to start a new business because what if they don't succeed and everybody criticizes them? Or they don't want to start a second income business or get into a multi-level marketing business or network marketing. What if people make fun of them? Remember this, that what people think of you has no impact on you at all. It's only what you think of yourself and how you think about others. What they think about you means nothing. If everybody in the world thought that you were a complete idiot because you took a chance on a business opportunity, it doesn't affect you unless you allow it to affect you. So from now on, what you do is you please yourself. And remember, the people who criticize you, or who you think might criticize you if you tried something new or different, will be the first people to line up and say, I was behind you 100% all the time. I was there the whole time. Okay, then the 6th reason that people don't become financially independent is lack of long-time perspective. All successful people have a long time perspective. They think many years into the future, and they're willing to make sacrifices in the short term to enjoy far greater rewards in the long term. The seventh reason that people retire poor, and this is something that's so silly but so relevant, is that they lack essential knowledge. Now, it's the most amazing thing is they just don't know what to do. They don't read books on how to run a business. They don't study on how to become successful at selling. They don't study on how to negotiate or how to invest. They just act impulsively. They believe that, they went to school at one time and now their education is over. But you find that self-made millionaires are continuously learning, they never stop learning about their field. And sometimes the most important learning that you do is before you get started. I met two brothers who spent 18 months of intensive research, traveling all over the country, talking to people, reading books, taking notes, before they finally settled on a business to get into. And within 2 years, they were both millionaires. They were willing to do their homework. So do your homework. If you see somebody else succeeding or you see a field that lots of people are succeeding in, say, that's an interesting field. I'm going to study that field. Here's a mistake people make. They say, well, what if I do all the study in this field and it turns out that it's not a good field to go into? I've lost all my time. No, you nitwit. You'll have learned valuable things which will help you when you study the next field and go into the next field. No good effort is ever lost. No effort of study that helps you become better is ever lost. It all accumulates and comes back to help you later on.